Who are you fighting?
Aliens.
Hey, what's up? Jocko here, sitting with Chris Pratt, and we're gonna look at some of the scenes that he's done.
Moving.
And talk through the realism, or at least the perspective that you had and the perspective that I had from the outside.
Great. Yeah. So we're gonna look through some scenes that I've done, some sort of like combat stuff, and that's not embarrassing or it's not nerve-wracking at all. Here we go. This first one is a terminalist. Oh yeah, hostage rescue scene. Terminalist. Punching around a corner.
Yeah, so you can see that you clearly got trained to do that. To, as you approach the threshold of the door, break down your weapon, and then enter the doorway. So that way, if there's someone on the other side, they can't grab your barrel before you enter the room.
Right. So we're setting up an L ambush here. And the idea is that we're trying to alarm them to walk towards where that guy would, and we'll hit him from the side.
Yeah, and these are the kind of things, those little details of you breaking down your weapon, of just the room entry looking realistic. This is what's hard when you've been in the military and you're watching a military movie. It can be really hard because you see people that are just doing stuff that just, it looks like they just didn't care. And maybe they also had a little fantasy of what they thought it would look like.
Right.
So that was very much appreciated that it was, that you guys took the time to do it right.
Oh, thank you. Well, I mean, what I've learned in the business is me and the people who are making these movies, for the most part, what they know about warfare, they learn from watching movies. You would think if a guy doesn't break his weapon down, he doesn't care. The truth is ignorance. It's just we don't know because what we learned is from watching, Magnum PI and stuff like that. So that's why we have, and I call it the Trident, which is, I came up with that. It's three guys, Jared Shaw, Ray Mendoza, and it's Jack Carr. They're former SEALs, and if it doesn't pass their sniff test, then it doesn't go into the show. And so they're the ones who would be able to pick up those little nuances.
Was there some things where they're saying, no, you've gotta do this right, otherwise it's gonna look stupid?
Yeah, and we try our best to go 100% with what's authentic. Ultimately, we're on a time crunch, and sometimes we do it, and the one shot that's in focus that worked sucked, and they're like, well, we don't have time to do it again, so we do our very best, and it's like an 80-20 kind of thing. Like, if we can get 80% of it right, then we move on. And then we're doing a lot of tactical reloads.
Yeah, that's the good little detail, right?
Yeah.
Because most of the times in the movies, guys have, infinite magazine rounds,
right,
and they're just shooting forever.
Yep.
And here you are, you probably fired 5 or 6, 7 rounds, and then you're doing a reload, hanging onto that mag because you still have bullets in it.
Yep.
But you're putting in a fresh one just in case because you don't know what's coming up next.
That's just right.
Give me suppressive fire on building 2, now!
Oh.
Just so you know, technically that wasn't really suppressive fire because he killed everyone. Oh. Suppressive fire is supposed to keep their heads down.
Yeah.
Normally because you can't kill them because you can't maybe see them 100%.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
It's even better.
Yeah. Thank you for that effective suppressive fire.
Were you walking around your house clearing like
everything?
Okay.
I'd be out on the golf course.
Because I can see you're looking smooth, man.
I'd go, oh, thank you. I'd be out on the golf course with my putter, walking to the bathroom.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay, come on, Chris. So here we have a situation where a guy's taking some of these kids hostage. So he switches out. You see that?
Yep. So he puts in a slug.
He puts in a slug
as opposed to a buckshot round, so he can get this headshot if he needs to. It's good details. Most people wouldn't see that, but when you see it, you really appreciate it. Nice. Smoked him.
Yeah, we smoked him. It was a little bit of Hollywood hot sauce on that one.
Yeah.
Okay, this is Zero Dark 30. I haven't actually watched this in a while, so I'll be curious to see if my tactics have evolved. Exactly. I will say what was really great that Catherine Bigelow did on my first meeting, she had built the Jalalabad compound out of like cardboard and had a desk. She had these army men, she knew exactly what she wanted it to be, and she was in correspondence with some of the team guys that were on that up and tried to make it as authentic as possible to what really happened.
Where are you in this scene? Where are you when they're filming this?
We're in Jordan. We were in Jordan. They built a compound that looked just like, to scale, what his compound was.
Shut that fucking kid up, please.
Yeah, that like when you start doing a hit and the kids start screaming, like that's just gonna happen. That sticks with you. Is you breach a door, you blow a door open, and now you've got kids are screaming. They're horrified.
Talk to me.
No fucking way we could blow this thing.
God fucking damn it. Can you pop it manually?
No.
I would love to find out what it was that they couldn't breach, because they must have been able to recognize that there was some kind of reinforced door, because the breachers carry some breaching charges that are gonna open some doors.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Funny bit of information there. We were shooting this at night. None of those NVGs worked because we couldn't bring real NVGs into Jordan. So we had these goggles on that were just blinding all of us. Yeah. Even the NVG that you see in that side profile when I'm like talking and it has that little green light.
It's just fake.
That was a green light inside of a thing. So I'm just like looking at a green light. I have no idea what's happening in front of me.
This is Echo 09. We have unknowns gathering on the southwest rooftops.
This is another thing that when I was watching this scene that was an eerie reminder. Like as you would hit a target in a neighborhood, sure enough, you start breaching and lights start coming on in the neighborhood outside. And so your external, depending if you're sometimes you'll be external security, meaning you're one of the guys outside, and sometimes you're internal doing the assault. When you're external security, you're out there, you see the lights start coming on, you see things start to make noise. That's sort of when the internal clock starts going. How long do we have to be sitting here before this gets spicy? Little barrel wave right there. It's a non-verbal communication, little barrel wave.
Yeah, and one of the cool things about this, and I know that they added this, is with the NVGs and with the lasers that are coming off, those are like infrared lasers, right? So it can be seen on the NVG, but it can't be seen in the dark. So you only can see that laser coming off of the gun if you're wearing one of these NVGs, which I really love how they created that distinction between what a person wearing NVGs would see and what a person not wearing NVGs would see, which is nothing.
And that's another thing that it was a beautiful feeling. I don't know if that's the right word, but when you're approaching a target, and so you're on nods and everyone's on nods, and you just see lasers going out. And it's a nonverbal communication because I can see what's being covered and what's not being covered. And so that's depicted in here where you can see like, oh, I'm looking over here and you can see my lasers, so then you pick up another thing. Right. So that's why it looks like a porcupine, and that's what it should look like.
So yeah, I get a sense of what's covered. I don't need to cover that if you're already covering it. That's pretty cool.
Hakeem, get him back or I'll start smoking him.
And then, interestingly, what we started going back to is also having a red laser on our weapon. So we have a red and infrared. Why? Because if you're dealing with civilians, like in this situation, you got people start approaching you. If you shine the red laser at them, that's like a universal signal.
Oh, wow.
So we would use the red lasers to actively warn people, hey, don't come any closer.
Wow, that's...
They will kill you!
Yeah, see, they can't see that laser. If they put a red laser on a person, I've never not had anyone react the way they should react to a red laser.
Anyone who's seen Predator knows what happens.
Exactly.
Go.
When I was watching this, when explosive breaching charges go off internally inside a building, even though they're a lot smaller, because the internal doors are not as reinforced, but the noise doesn't simulate how loud it is and the shock that it gives you. You don't get that from the movie. From the movie, it looks like a sledgehammer kind of impact, but it rocks your world when you're inside. So, you couldn't put enough noise in a theater without harming people to make it realistic.
All stations, target secure, target secure.
Roger, copy that. Target secure.
Target secure. Commence SSE. Proper SSE right now.
In the beginning of the war, telling guys to search, they would just destroy everything. By the end, people got more professional. Because it's actually bad, because you come into a room to search a room and just rip down everything, and you're like, hey, did you look under the carpets?
Yeah.
Well, no, so now you gotta move everything. So we figured that out over time, that the best thing to do wasn't just to trash everything, it was actually to methodically clear the space and look through everything. So when it says commence SSE in the first picture, there's a guy just dropping a computer. That's pretty funny.
I'm done running.
This is cool. This fight sequence is really cool, but in a totally different way.
Who are you fighting?
Aliens.
Okay. Enough said.
Yeah. So the idea is the most incredible oneer. Oneer means the camera doesn't touch.
So did you have to walk through this 1,000 times?
Oh man, yeah. The process was, and it's designed to look like one shot, but it's really a multiple number of shots stitched together.
Dude, your somersault skills,
Really good.
they're up there.
Thanks.
Was that CGI or did you really do
No, I did that. Like in the teams, how much somersault stuff training do you guys
Well,
do?
the guys that can't do good somersaults, they get weeded out pretty quick.
I figured I'd make it pretty fun. How many times did you guys do long runners like this?
Yeah, this is not my area of expertise.
Oh, this is Terminalist.
Yeah, this is Terminal List. And what's cool about this one is that opening scene of Terminal List. Part of the plot is that it's confusing.
Yeah.
Part of the plot is that you don't really know 100% what's going on. Like, that's part of the plot. But it actually is just realistic.
Colin, what do you got?
There's muzzle flashes. You can't see what's happening. You don't know whose muzzle it's coming from, friend or foe. There's confusion about where you are, and all that stuff is very realistic. Because you hear the word fog of war? Mm-hmm. The fog of war is real. And so I felt that it was a really good representation of what a gunfight is like.
Frag out! Frag out! God! Lords, kill that motherfucker!
And what I would try and train guys to do is the leaders have to step back and not be caught up in that gunfight. So they captured that very well in that opening scene with all that chaos and all that confusion. Did a good job.
Thanks so much, man. I'll tell you, that's really affirming because it was a real battle with the studio and with the first test audiences. They were like, I can't see what's going on. I don't know who's who. And I think it went against the conventions of your typical cinema and television that deals with combat.
I need a head count on my man! I understand, but I need to get you off this axe! Get my boys off this beat! You are the last man! I promise you!
Our North Star was always authenticity. So there wasn't supposed to be light, then there's not supposed to be light. And if you don't know what the hell happened, it's great because it's told from the point of view of a character who does not know what just happened.
You can tell watching, look, the long scenes in space I don't really know too much about, but the combat scenes, I can tell that you guys put in a lot of work to make those things realistic, and I think it pays off.
Thank you, dude. Thank you. Yeah, that means a lot coming from you. That was our goal, was to have people who've been through it say, wow, good job. You cared enough to make it authentic and make it real.
Well, wow, good job. You did enough to make it authentic and make it real. Good job.